So good morning, everybody. Thank all of you for coming, and thank those of you who are joining us on Zoom. My name's Melissa Saulfield. I'm a member of the Concord 250 Communications and Publicity Committee, and I am chair of this little merchandise subcommittee, which has called all of you here this morning. Our little committee is made up of myself, Priscilla Surgis, who I think may be familiar to many of you, a very talented graphics designer who generously donated her services to create the design.
Thank you.
Marie Foley, also somebody very familiar to you, president of the Concord Chamber of Commerce and successful businesswoman here in town. And then Beth Williams, who is joining us via Zoom, who, as you know, is the tourism manager for Concord. I don't know, Beth, did you want to say anything?
Good morning.
Nope,
you got this, Melissa.
Okay.
I'm here if you need me.
Okay. So joining us on the agenda this morning will also be two other members of the Concord 250 organization. That's Joe Palumbo, who is chair of the events committee, and Diane Proctor, who chairs the communications and publicity committee. But first, a little bit about why we've invited you here. Our merchandise subcommittee was asked to identify sale items that would be typically popular with tourists on which we could imprint the Concord 250 logo, and to suggest area vendors capable of producing those items. Important caveats to this assignment: emphasize local businesses, encourage the use of the logo, and aim for consistency. We're hoping that the adoption of the logo will help promote Concord 250 not only within the town of Concord, but beyond our borders. Through this promotion, we're also hoping to boost sales of Concord businesses. So I suspect many of you have taken a family trip. Your kids want some trinket or something to remember the visit for them. And so that, a keychain, a magnet, t-shirt, mug, something that's easy to pack to take home, not too expensive, but its design will forever serve as a memory of that visit. So to tell you about the events that will create those memories, please welcome Joe Palumbo, chair of the events committee.
Good morning, thank you. I guess the first question is, how many of you were alive and remember any version of the bicentennial in 1775? Okay. How many of you were in Concord for 1775? Okay. So that was really the first challenge we faced, right? When we started to approach this as Concord 250. We all have these memories of 1975. Sorry, 1975. We have these memories of what we did. And as Concord 250, and we're about over 100 volunteers in various committees trying to plan something and plan events that were reflective of 2025. Because we know the folks in 1975 didn't say, what did they do in 1925? Let's do that, right? Things were different, and things are very different 50 years later. So that has been our approach. We really want to create a series of events and celebrations that are worthy of the 21st century. One of the first things we did is try to, based on the charge of the select board, really think about the narrative that we're telling through these events, that we're really trying to tell a narrative there's a lot of untold stories and stories we didn't even know about 50 years ago. So we're trying to make sure our events incorporate those stories into our celebration. We want to help people see this is a celebration of not just one day, April 19th, 1775, but a celebration of what happened that day, at the start of the American Revolution, created this beautiful country that over the last 250 years has expanded freedom and equality for everyone. And so we want to make sure that the celebration is about all of the 250 years of the great nation and not just a single day. And that helps us in terms of promotion and events that we're really celebrating from 2023 when we launched all through 2026. We're going to, kind of the capstone is July 4th and the Declaration of Independence. So if you were around in the last year, we started events as early as April of last year. Our first event was actually right here and across the street, the 200th anniversary of the celebration of Ellen Garrison's birthday. Ellen Garrison, one of the most famous black Concordians. And we thought that was a great way to start off because not only, her grandfather was an enslaved man who fought at the Old North Bridge that day. So to have her grandfather was a man who served with the Patriot cause, and that she becomes an educator and a fighter for civil rights seemed like a perfect kind of event to start off celebration of 250. So hopefully what you've seen since then, we've been trying to do events like at least once a month to keep this in people's minds, both in our communities and visitors' minds. There's something going on for Concord 250 every month because we want people to understand we're still heard around the world. So we think in terms of your work and some of the merchandise things we'll talk about today, this is not just about waiting for April. This is something that's going on every month. And if you ever want to see what's going on, Concord250.org, we have a calendar, and it lists every event. And we're trying to do about one thing a month. Most recently, just a couple of examples to show you the breadth of what we're doing. In the fall, we partnered with the Armory and the National Guard to start telling stories of the National Guard and how that fits into the celebration of the 250 years of freedom. In November, we partnered with the library and historian Elise Lemire. There was a great story about veterans of the Vietnam War who protested against the Vietnam War here in Concord using April 19th as their symbol. So that was a story that helps people understand the deeper meaning of freedom and liberty. Just in January last month, we partnered with the National Park to have a discussion about the 250th anniversary of the Concord Town Meeting that happened after the Boston Tea Party, to help people see there's all these things that we can celebrate more than just one day. This month, we're doing something on a tour with the National Park, a walking tour for Patriots of Color. There'll be something for Women's History Month. There'll be something around it. We just discovered, with the help of some Concordians, a veteran of World War II, a man named Ralph Kimlau, one of the most famous Chinese-American veterans. Had all these monuments to him in New York and Chinatown. He lost his life in a bombing raid in World War II. He was born in Concord. We just figured that out. He was born right over at Emerson, which before, what was it called before Emerson? Deaconess, when it was Deaconess. So there's all these great stories that'll help all people feel like they can be part of 250. I think the partnerships that we're having, creating these events, link into the partnerships that we can have with all of you, that there's ways you can participate and get the name Concord 250 out there. I think one of the things we heard from Mass Department of Tourism, Kate Fox, she said, you know, when people used to come to Salem, Salem has this thing every year called Salem Haunted Happenings. And when they would come to Salem, they thought they were going to haunted happenings. There are 80 organizations behind that. No one cared what they came to was a thing. And so that's what we're trying to do with Concord 250. Everyone who wants to be included, who fit these stories, who want to promote this message of freedom, equality, and liberty, we want to get that logo and Concord 250 out there, all of us. And I think just to close, well, two things. One is our co-chair, Rob Monroe. He gave us a really good charge, I think. He said, the people who are going to come to Concord in 2025 look different than the people who came to Concord in 1975. When they come here, we want to make sure they see themselves. So that's one important thing. And I think the last thing we hope, we'll know we'll be successful when we're all done, if people say, and we ask them, how'd it go? What'd you think of Concord 250? They say, well, I learned something. It was fun. I felt included. I'm hopeful about our nation, and I'm optimistic about the next 250 years. If we do that, we'll think we've done our job. So that's what we're doing with events. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them about any of the events. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to, I think my colleague Diana is going to talk about the amazing publicity work you guys are doing.
Good morning. My name is Diane Proctor, and I'm the chair of the Publicity and Communications Subcommittee of this whole event. First, I want to point out that Priscilla Sturgis created this fantastic logo, and a small team worked with her to do this. She did a deep dive on the history of other logos and other designs, what other towns were using, and what was produced was not just an exquisite logo, but a tagline, thanks to the committee, again, with whom I work, which says that we're still heard around the world. So one of the things our committee tries to emphasize is that this is not an event, it's an idea. And that idea has energy, and that energy has legs, to use the marketing term. And that those legs, really need to be spread, throughout our community, and really, more broadly throughout our country. So there are two initiatives that we've undertaken, lots that we've undertaken. There are two about which I will speak very briefly this morning. The first is something called an IMA, an intermunicipal agreement. There is an RFP, which I suspect you all know what that is. I didn't 2 years ago, but I've learned a lot. We have an RFP out there to make sure that we're getting an echo, and I hope that's okay. It's okay? Okay, terrific. An RFP. And what the intermunicipal agreement marks is an opportunity for us to collaborate with 3 other towns because we know that they too will be celebrating this event, and marching all over, so to speak, each other is probably not prudent. And pooling our resources is also, by the opposite, prudent. Rather than us going out and trying to hire some sort of a wizard who's used to planning big organizational events like this at about $100,000. How much wiser for us to put some money in a kitty with these other towns and make sure that we can promote the entire event collaboratively. So which are those other towns? The first one is Lexington, of course. The second one is Lincoln, and I want to speak right now to the generosity of Lincoln. So if you work with other businesses in Lincoln or other opportunities in Lincoln, give them a shout out because they've been willing to put the same amount of money into that kitty, even though they don't have all of the stores and all the businesses and spaces that we have. So they've done a very honorable and lovely thing, and they will, I hope, profit by being able to participate in all that we're doing. And then the fourth town is Arlington, which of course has all those things. It has a myriad restaurants and places for people to stay. So that will help us in terms of finding places for the people who come here to celebrate. So that's called an intermunicipal agreement. The RFP is out and about, and within, I think, the next 2 weeks, we will be hiring a firm to manage this massive, really, event. And the second thing, we have the person sitting right in this room, Polly Meyer. Wave to everybody, Polly. Hello. Polly, we've offered, and Polly has offered, I have to say very generously, to work with us. And we're hiring her for the next, right up until the Patriots Day Parade in 2025, to work with us on mounting a Concord-based social media campaign. Because what we've discovered is we can't just simply advertise or promote to the world. We have a job here in Concord as well. How do we know that? Because people on our committee have a magnet on the back of their car that says Concord 250, heard around the world, and people say to them, what's that? So if in Concord we don't know what it is, we've got some work to do. So that's what Polly is going to help us with, to explain, okay, what's that? So that we get it going. So we're here to help you. We're here to make sure that the businesses in our community are well supported, to make sure that the businesses in our community have an opportunity to engage in this process productively and energetically. And in any way that we can help you, we're here to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diane. So the other thing, what Joe was saying, that when people who leave Concord, I want to also make sure they've got a keychain, they got a magnet, and they got a mug. So to talk a little bit more about that and product development, I'd like to introduce Priscilla Sturgis, who I think is, I think her work, most of you know it. Think of the Concord Children's Center, think of the umbrella, think of the Scholarship Fund, which is on a bag she's got right here, and also say Household Goods, which is in Acton. So each of those organizations has been strengthened by the brand identity that strong image that Priscilla created has provided them. So, she has a presentation to show you, so take it away.
Okay, so this is the list, brief list of items that we came up with for price point reasons, it's a touristy, and locals, yeah. The first one is a mug. This is a keychain. See how this is coming out. Yep, I'm looking in 2 different places here. Then we thought of a sticker because, put stickers on water bottles, things like that. Little. This is the car magnet that everyone should have on their car. Because, yes, they're already available at the visitor center, and Marie has them. This is a moving advertisement. You put it on your car and you drive into Cambridge and Boston, or to Vermont, or to Connecticut, which I'm doing next weekend. So that's a really good thing to have for Concordians, but also easy to take home. Shot glass is very popular item. I'm showing it here two ways. The one on the etched, this is an etched one, doesn't show up that well. But this could be used for any kind of drinking glass, a wine glass. We are talking about partnering with West Concord Liquors to do some things with wine, and so this will be great on a wine glass. Postcard, t-shirts. This is a one-color silkscreen version. This is right here and available at the Visitor Center. It's embroidered on the front and silkscreen on the back. So that's that version. And then polo shirt, hoodies are very popular. Again, embroidered on the front, silkscreen on the back. Then we also went a little further and developed some ideas around going beyond just the logo that shows more Concord type, the Minuteman on a mug or anything, the bridge, or a, I don't know where it is here. Is it this one? This shows sort of a little, I don't know, could call it a collage type thing. A tea towel, those are popular. So we also put a list together of vendors that either have already done these products. This is from Steelbury in Vermont. So they already have the file for this magnet. And Corporate Casuals in West Concord already has the art for this. You just have to call them and say, we want to order that. These are just suggestions. We're trying to make this as easy as possible for the retailers to place orders. And also, we had the idea that get together with a couple of different retailers to gang your order so that you can get a better unit price.
So can I interject? We also picked these businesses because they are made in USA items.
Correct. All of these. And as local as possible. I don't know where Lantern Press is. Where's Rhode Island. Steelbury is in Vermont. So as I said, these are just suggestions. It'll be in this packet that if you request it. I also included this because this is specific to the logo that shows how the color breaks work, what the colors are. You can use it in one color, full color. It talks about what the fonts are, that kind of thing, so that you have that in the packet. This slide is when you request the packet, you'll also receive a folder of electronic logos to use. And I'm just pointing out here that any logo that is used on a product should have a TM designation as opposed to the SM. The TM is for trademark, SM is service mark. So there are a lot of service mark logos floating around, but for use on a product, it really needs to be the TM. So you need to request a logo file from me that has the TM on it. And that's it. And if you have questions or want to make a request, there are hard copies here for my contact information. So.
Yeah, so any questions? Again, what we're trying to do, these are just suggested items designed really for tourists. We encourage you to be creative and develop any kind of product that is of interest to you or is appropriate to the kind of things that you already would be selling. It's just what we're asking is consistency and to avail services for a fee, for if you need design assistance from Priscilla, to use the logo as we've developed it. So it is consistent throughout. I'm sorry, I did see some questions. And Marie's here to help answer too. Oh, well, Marie.
Okay, so I just want to clarify something. The use of the logo is free, correct? But if we would like to hire Priscilla. The use of the logo is free, is that correct?
Correct.
When we ask for a design package.
Correct.
But we can also avail ourselves to your services to help us design onto a different type of product.
Absolutely.
For a fee. Okay,
Yeah, I mean, it's negotiable, so it depends on the situation.
right. I just wanted to make everyone know that the design is free.
Yeah. One example, if it's okay, Faye, if I can just mention. So Faye Allen is on the Community Outreach Holidays Committee, and she's been investigating the witness structures in the town of Concord and is coming up with a design to mark those homes, as long as it's okay with the homeowners, for just that week or so, maybe around April 19th. That designates that these homes were there at the date April 19th, 1775. And she's designed an image, but I had asked her, if she would work with Priscilla to somehow incorporate the Concord 250, just so it is known to be an official activity of the Concord 250 program. So I know you have done that. So that's kind of one example. And another, just to call out to Joe Sale, as Priscilla mentioned, Joe has been working to identify a vineyard on the West Coast who will develop a wine, a quality wine, a red and white wine. And he's going to work with Priscilla to design the label. So maybe, Joe, you might have an update?
Thank you. Yes, we've arranged to have a wine made from it'll be Cabernet Sauvignon and a Chardonnay. It'll be from Washington State. We've also spoken with a Amy's Tomb, which is a small craft producer for beer in Maynard. He'll also be making a can for us also. So I'd love to sit down and chat with you about what the label and organize, put it all together for the front and also back label for the wine. We're really excited about it. It's going to be a great event.
So thank you. So actually, Joe, if you might pass it to John Hinkling, because John is also working to develop a commemorative coin. John, maybe you would, I'm sorry, we don't have the image to show, but please talk about it.
Surprise, I didn't know I was speaking.
Well, I didn't know you were.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm John Hickling, and the 250 Executive Committee tasked me with designing a commemorative coin to sell on this day. As you know, in 1975, it was very successful, and we're hoping to replicate that. I do have a design that's been approved by the 250 Executive Committee. I'd be happy to share copies with it. I'm sorry it's not on the screen. Yeah, in 1975, the town sold a series of coins. There were 3 different versions. They raised $60,000 some, which at that time was half of the budget. So I'm hoping that we can make a material contribution.
Give me the sheet. I can hold it up.
Oh, I'm hoping we can,
Here.
yeah, I'm trying to curb my enthusiasm for it, but I'm hoping we can maybe do even a little better than that. In 1975, they ran out of the coins in February before the actual events, and so they didn't have any product to sell to the 100,000 people that came to town on that day. So we won't make that mistake again. We'll probably make another mistake, but they also didn't have the internet, right, to distribute and sell. So, is that going to work?
No.
No.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, sorry about that.
For the
So-
people on Zoom, it works, but.
So the executive committee has approved the design, and I've put in a first modest order, and it has the committee tagline front and center on the front of the coin, and so very optimistic about all that. So they're real metal. They're a cupro nickel. Yeah, it's not actual silver. That would elevate the cost, of course, materially. But I mean, we've got a year. We could do a silver version. Perhaps we should. We'll discuss that. We've done a first sort of a first lot of the cupro polished nickel. So it's meant to have broad mass appeal, to not only to Concordians but to everybody that comes on that day. So did I? So the price. So the reason I came today was I wasn't even quite sure that we needed to charge sales tax on this, and I'm guessing that we do. So the price will be about $20. It should be for modest, commemorative appeal. And we could do a higher value version, a silver version, or maybe a gold-plated version. I mean, I guess I'd have to defer to the executive committee to see if that's something they'd like to. Are they going to be made in Alabama by any chance? So I was aware of a local producer, but I couldn't find them. And I think the one they used previously was no longer in business. So unfortunately, the one that I've used for this one is American. It's in Texas, which I think is still part of America. Yeah. So it is made in the USA. Yeah. And anyway, so
So I have a quick question, John. Is some of is this a fundraiser partly, the sales of the coin? Yes.
So
right.
the economics are very compelling when you look at what was done in the past and the cost per unit and the potential sale price. The economics are very compelling.
So that means, yes, it's a bit of a fundraiser?
Absolutely. And the whole intent is to generate some positive free cash flow so we can fund all the other great events and things that are going on.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the point.
So are there any other questions? Yes.
Using the logo.
Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Melissa. Rick Laughlin, chair of the Finance Committee for the 250 Committee. The Executive Committee did approve a purchase of 400 coins, as John has mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Is really a start to see what the potential is for, can we sell 10,000 of these? Can we sell just 400? So the first stop is to get the 400 and see what kind of money we can generate. At this point, as far as Melissa's question, yes, this is a fundraising event. Fundraising information is going out in the next month to businesses, and then a townwide mailing either in April or May. And I would like to, I have the microphone since I've never personally met Priscilla. She and I have been back and forth on quite a few iterations of the donor card. So thank you, Priscilla. It was excellent. I have a couple more things for you. We have to update the stationery because there's been changes, but I understand you're the only person who can deal with those things, and I appreciate all your efforts. So
You're very welcome.
This commemorative coin could very well be a significant fundraiser, so we hope we can get it off the ground. And I mentioned to some of the executive committee members yesterday that We have two events coming up, a parade in April, and we have a town meeting, and we'd like to have the coins by that time in order to get some of them sold. So, thank you.
Thank you. So,
March 5th is the supposed date, but never trust an exact date these days
All right.
okay,
on
yes.
shipping.
Okay, sure. My name is John McKinnon from McKinnon Printing in Acton. I know Priscilla.
Hi, John.
We work with her fairly often with the household goods. And I've also been working with Faye on that flag that was mentioned, which I actually have the sample here, that still need to be modified a little bit. In keeping with this and other potential products, is there an official review process of what the logo can be used on and get approval before it's actually made?
So we really want to put that process in place. It doesn't seem that manageable. We would like it to work, but we don't really have that
So
control.
it's kind of a very loose process, as long as the logo is used as intended.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, this is just to provide a guideline and encourage the use of the logo and to be consistent, but how you use it, where you use it, that's up to you. We're not that much into control, or at least, right. We
I
just
wanna
want to
be.
build enthusiasm. We'd also like, hope that by using it, by a lot of people using it, it'll generate interest. It'll help all businesses. Yes.
Hi,
Hi,
quick
Polly.
question. Hi, have we explored any options like custom ink or something where people can order it on demand, where they have the logo on their site and then people can order and they like we've done it for the high school when you don't want to have a lot of overstock. Has that been looked at?
So part of the reason that we've come up with this branding kit is to allow you folks to do that. The town, we don't have a budget. The town is not in the business of of product development. The only product the town really is what Beth is doing for the visitor center.
Okay.
Right.
Great.
Any other questions, comments?
Can I just add, Melissa, in 1975, we used the banks to distribute these coins. I've been in contact with a couple of banks who I'd like to have as lead sponsors, and they could distribute coins, but I'd also really like the retailers to certainly be involved. And we're still dealing with a process. Can we do a consignment? Do we have to deal with sales tax? And even with the bank, if we work with a couple of banks, I mean, there's a process that has to be developed in order to get the money into the Concord 250, et cetera. So some of this is still in the works, and I guess I'd look for the local retailers to think about whether it's consignment or do we have to deal with sales tax, which the more you have to deal with the money part of it is problematic, dealing with Concord 250, our particular financing situation. Everything goes into an account, but then it has to be spent, approved by the town. So we'd appreciate feedback on that.
Can you include the tax in the price, and that would make it simpler?
That's certainly an option.
So the price of 1882 with tax and rounds up to $20. Do I need to repeat that?
Well, I don't know, I think we got it. So are there any other questions? We do hope to present this little program to at other times to maybe other vendors who weren't able to be here with us this morning. This information will be somehow, Diane, do we have a page, the communications publicity page? Somewhere on the town website under Concord 250. We're working on that. Maybe Polly can help us on that as well, so that you know how to get a hold of Priscilla and or Beth, who are probably the ones who know best. At any rate, if there are not any other questions, we encourage, as Marie said and Priscilla said, that maybe going in together to get a better unit price for something that you wanted to order, or again, if there's a product, clothing, a more expensive piece of crystal that you want to develop using the logo, go right ahead. We are encouraging that. It's just that we thought these are pretty simple items that you could order that are popular with families. So thank you again for coming. Any questions, please feel free to ask any of us. And, I know you've got businesses to run, so thank you.